how she does. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be going over a 2021 Genesis G70 Elite. First and foremost, a huge shout out and thank you to Genesis of Sandy, aka Southtown Hyundai, for providing us with this Genesis G70. Check out their inventory in the link below. Let's just get straight into the video. The hood of the G70, we have a turbocharged 2-liter 4-cylinder that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 20 around town and then 27 on the highway, with power outputs being 252 horsepower and then 260 pound-feet of torque. Now let's go over the design of the G70. I think it's pretty interesting that the two sides of the hood are just kind of like raised, whereas the middle is just like a little divot. Definitely a unique styling touch, but I love the look of the headlights. So they've got these nice projector bulbs, and then you can see the little LED accent light that kind of comes in from either side. Definitely unique touch, and then they have the two little dots there on the other side. Just overall, I think it's a really cool look. And then I love how they have the lights down here as well. Just like overall, looks cool. That's almost like little like fish gills pretty much. You can see you've got the sensor there that's kind of like built into the grille, which is just below the Genesis logo. And then I love the design here with the front end, how it just looks super aggressive. Kind of reminds me of like a Shelby GT350 actually, with how like sharp the lines are here with the whole front end design and the front splitter as well. But overall, there's the front end of the G70. Come around the side here, we've got two 25mm tires on 18-inch wheels in the front and over in the rear as well. And then in terms of the design, I actually really like the design. It's kind of like a star shape for the actual wheel itself, which fits for a luxury car. And then you can see you've got the little like, I don't know what this is, it's just like a chrome accent piece, but I mean, it looks cool, so it's got that going for it. And they also finished the door handles in chrome to kind of accent all of the chrome pieces on the car. But there is your full side view on the G70. Now coming into the rear, you get your Genesis floor mats, and I love how it says all-wheel drive on it, which is pretty cool. But other than that, you guys can see that you've got a normal cargo area here. They've got this little tab you can pick up, and that reveals the spare tire if you ever get stranded on the side of the road. In terms of storage space back here, it's actually pretty good for cargo room. Definitely solid, especially for how small this sedan actually is. And that's all for the trunk. Now let's go over the rear end of the G70. First and foremost, I love the taillights. The LEDs are really good. They just have a really sharp look to them, so they've done a really good job with the taillights. Like how it says Genesis there on the side of the light as well, and then it says Genesis right there again. And then it says Genesis right there again. Like there's lots of Genesis logos on this car. But overall, it's a really like sleek looking design, and you can see the exhaust tips there at the bottom. Pretty cool look with that as well, and that's everything for the back. Here's a look at the door panel in the rear. So first off, I really like all of the perforations here. Really cool look. And then you got nice padding where you're actually going to rest your arm. And then here are the seats. So you've got the full leather, and then it's interesting, they've got the perforations with like piping down the middle. Just definitely different. And then you've got the piping here on the side, which is in black to contrast that. But let's actually pop in. So got it duck like usual. Oh, I think I'm getting too big to fit in cars. I don't know. But if you're wondering, I'm about 5'11", and I fit back here. Except for my legs are a little bit cramped. But remember, this is a memory seat car, so this is actually more representative. I should have gone on that side for the legroom, because this seat's pushed back because it makes it go that way when the driver comes in. But anyways, you got the vents back here. You've got a 12 volt, and then yes, the rear passenger can move this seat if they want, then go, yeah, you know what, I don't like you, I want more legroom on that side, so they can do that, which is pretty cool. And then got some cup holders here on this part of it, and that is everything for the rear. Here's a look at the door panel in the front. So again, you got that really cool perforation with all of the padding, your memory seat controls, got all the window controls right here with the mirror adjustments as well. And just overall, I think it's like really cool. And then I love how this like line just comes all the way down there. And then the seats here at the front, again, you've got the same leather design with the perforations and the piping that go down, and the black piping on the side. Here's your adjustments on the side of the seat. And then there's a look at what the pedals look like. And then you can see over here, you've got the controls for the lane keep assist, the blind spot monitoring, the gas, and then the release for the trunk. The steering wheel is automatically adjustable. Here's a look at the paddles. And there's one more look before we pop in. Now here's a quick look at the steering wheel. So you got smooth leather at the top and at the bottom, and you got perforated leather on either side. We're actually going to grab the steering wheel so you get a little bit of a better grip. You've got your controls for the adaptive cruise control, the little pages button, got one of the paddle shifters. Other side, you got your voice command controls, phone controls, and then you got the other paddle shifter. You got the stock for the lights, and then the stock for the windshield wipers just behind the steering wheel. But overall, I think the design's pretty cool. Now here is the center stack. So you've got the RPMs over on the left side, and then you got the speed over on the right side. Pretty straightforward setup. And then you got this little screen there in the center, which you can scroll through some stuff. So I can go into the safety tech, for example, different bits of information on the vehicle. You can have it be like a little speedo, and then you can scroll through a bunch of different menus. My favorite obviously is going to be the drive modes, which right now we're in comfort, and you can see that you can switch between the drive modes. So you've got your smart, which is going to be like better driving, and then eco, which obviously is the best fuel economy, comfort, and then you got the sport, which actually turns things red there on the side, and then you have the custom. Obviously you customize the mode. But yeah, overall I think it's pretty cool. I wish they did a little bit more with the accenting, but at least it turns it red with the sport mode. Here is the center infotainment system. First off, pop it into reverse. You can see the backup camera. We got some trajectory lines that'll turn with the steering wheel. And then other than that, you can see with the rest of the screen, response time on it's actually pretty solid. You get Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, and you can see pretty straightforward use. Like you can go and see what the climate's like. You can customize all that with the screen, or more importantly, you can see your driving info so that your car can tell you how bad of a driver you are, which is pretty interesting. Down below the infotainment system, we've got a couple of vents there for the climate system. We've got all of your analog controls for the radio, analog controls for the climate system, and it is a dual zone climate system. Get heated seats for the front passengers, and then this little cubby, which you can cover up with that little tab right there. And you can see that you've got a couple of USBs right there and some storage all around it. And then here is the shifter for the car. You can see that you've got your park, reverse, neutral, and drive. Pretty straightforward. So you go up for reverse, you pull down for neutral, and then you push the button in to go into drive, and then push that button in for park. Again, pretty straightforward, nothing too crazy happening there. Couple of cup holders right next to it, and then we've got our drive mode select right here. You can see you've got your auto stop start if you don't like that function, your stability control, your auto hold, your parking sensors, and then your actual parking brake. Now here's the center console. You can see picking that up pretty straightforward with that. And coming over to the glove box, again, pretty straightforward with this, pretty normal glove box. They do nice like leather up here with all of the stitching, and they do more stitching here on the dash as well. And then actually popping up to the top, you can see you get a full little sunroof, which is, it's like all automated. It doesn't go all the way to the back, but it's all automated, which is definitely different. But you can see you've got a sunroof. You can stick your hand out if you want, whatever you want to do with it. That's a little bit more light into the cabin, and then there's a sunglass holder as well. Normal mirror. Now that we're done going over the interior of this Genesis G70, let's quickly get into pricing. So in terms of pricing, this car stickers for about $43,000 in the Elite trim before any type of market adjustment. That all being said, let's take this G70 out and see how it drives. Let's talk about visibility here in the G70 before we set off. So visibility of the hood, it's actually really easy to see out of it. And then there's your visibility through both of the mirrors, and they do have blind spot monitoring. And then here's your visibility all throughout the rear, which is solid as well. So visibility in general in the car is actually really good, which I'm surprised because most sedans don't have the best, but let's set off. We're setting off here in the G70, and first off, let's talk about the road noise and ride quality. I'm actually going to compare this to the Sonata because I just drove the Sonata, so yeah. In terms of the noise, it's about the same as that. So, I mean, it's right where I would expect it to be. It's actually pretty quiet. Again, it's got kind of like a luxury car feel. The one thing I'm noticing is this isn't as smooth as a Sonata from a ride quality perspective, but I am noticing that the steering does feel quite a bit more direct with this car. It definitely has like a sportier feeling with the steering of this car, and I think part of it's due to like the actual size of the steering wheel, but it does feel a little bit more direct as well. So overall it just has like a sportier feel. We're taking a turn here and we're gonna get our minor acceleration. So this is like our partial throttle acceleration, just like how you'd normally get up and go. That's pretty good. It's got a good amount of torque with the car, and don't mind the fuel warning. Hopefully we make it back in one piece, but we're going to pop over into the sport mode and get our acceleration. We're also going to go into the manual mode as well. and we'll see how she does. Woo, definitely faster than the Sonata I just drove. Definitely faster than the Sonata I just drove. Really good with the acceleration. Definitely can tell that it's turbocharged. Like, you 100% can tell that it is turbocharged. Like, it has that like drama, it has that turbo lag, all of that, but really solid from an acceleration standpoint. I mean, it's again right where I expected it with the power figures. And let's actually get into summing things up with the G70. So I think the G70 from the exterior perspective is a really good looking car. Again, it kind of reminds me of like Mercedes C-Class is a really good car to kind of compare it to from like a aesthetics perspective, and actually pretty much a price point perspective too. And the interior, well, this is crazy. I just drove the Sonata, and the Sonata had a little bit of a nicer interior than this, and so I feel like they could bring up the interior a little bit with this car. They've got a bunch of nice materials in like the G90, for example, so they could kind of trickle some of that stuff down to the G70. And then from the performance, the steering is really good. It feels like it's just very direct with the steering, all that kind of stuff. The acceleration is pretty decent, but again, you can get the 3.3 liter turbo, which that thing is an absolute rocket ship. So if you want more power, get that engine. This base engine is actually pretty decent though, so it gives you a good amount of power if you're not super power hungry and you want a little bit better fuel economy. But if you want to have a crazy amount of power, then go for the 3.3 liter turbo. So overall, I feel like it does a pretty good job as an entry-level luxury car. My only critique is they just need to bring up the interior materials, and you know that they have it because the Sonata interior is really nice and the G90 interior is really nice. So they just need to give the G70 a little bit of love.